I am going to be doing an interview with Emily Barnett, but let me figure out. I have to add her. Okay, I think she's been invited. And let me send it to a few people. Now just hopefully she gets it. We're waiting for Emily to join. Oh, I'm gonna message her. Oh, there we go.
Hey.
You got it. Perfect.
I was
All right.
to do it on my computer, and I think it's just slower on the computer. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't try my computer before. All right. Okay. Hi. Oh, I think you're typing in the document.
Yep.
Well, we have a shared document with the question.
Sorry about that.
And like weird things just started happening. It's fine. I can still read it. All right. So we are here to talk about Fool's Honor. Look at this beautiful book. It's wonderful. All right, let me know when you're settled in and we can get started.
My phone up here.
I have it stacked on like 10 books.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's got to be like a toy in here I can use. All my. All right. So professional.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Okay.
All of my stuff is super professional. I don't know what you're talking about. Every video. Oh man.
Hey, there's people on. That's fun.
There are people. You guys can ask questions too. We're just getting settled in here. But, okay.
Yeah, I'm good now.
You good now? All right.
Like an official person.
Yeah, I guess we can start with introducing ourselves in case there's people who don't know who we are.
Idea.
I guess that'd be helpful. I guess I'll go. I'm Ann J. Hill, which if you're following me, you probably know who I am. But we're releasing a anthology called Fool's Honor, and I guess I'm technically the editor, and publisher, and everything. Yeah, and author for some of it. And then your turn. You go ahead.
Yes, I'm Emily Barnett. I am one of the authors in Fool's Honor, and I was also in What Darkness Fears, which Anne also edited and published. Yeah, that's me. I have a few flash fiction short stories floating around different places, so yeah, pretty exciting. I'm fantasy. That's pretty much all I do. It has to have magic in it. That's it's my thing.
There you go. All right. I guess I'm just gonna read the questions because otherwise this is gonna go horribly. All right. Can you briefly explain each of your pieces in Fool's Honor? And then I say only a little bit. Don't give us too much info.
It's hard.
They have to read it.
Right. It's hard to do with like flash fiction or short stories because you can't give much of a summary.
Yeah.
So the easy one is that I did a poem called The Treat Trickster, and it is a Hansel and Gretel retelling. That one was really fun. It's delicious. It's like I used a lot of like sweets and candy references and descriptions, but it's also pretty dark. I mean, the fairy tale in itself is dark, but this maybe took a darker turn than that. And then I did a short story called The Trick of Remembering. So another trick in the title. I had a theme within the theme. And that one is about a wife and a husband. And the wife is how can I say this? The wife has forgotten memories, and her husband is an illusionist. And so he is using his illusions and his magic to trick her mind into remembering them. Um, so you'll have to find out if she ends up remembering him or not.
Yeah.
It's a very emotional, it was probably, yeah, I really love that piece. But it was a very feely type of fantasy.
Yeah.
I
Did
definitely,
you
I don't,
say it's one of like your favorite things you've written or something too?
yeah, yeah. So far, I
Yeah.
really love it. Yeah, I think because it has everything I enjoy. It has the magic, but it also has a lot of feelings in it.
Yeah.
I tend to write less like assassin or fight scenes and more of like emotional type of things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if that's your
That's
cup of
fun.
tea, it might not be everybody, but that's okay.
Yeah. And
How
then you
about you?
have one in the hardback too.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
have a new. You tell them about the hardback, and then I'll.
The hardback? Yeah. Well, the hardback, it's the same stories, but then there's two extra stories. I have an extra story, and then Emily has an extra story too
Yeah,
about like a leprechaun story. I
yeah.
don't know what all you want to say, but there's a leprechaun in it.
It's a flash fiction piece, so I can't really say much. But
Yeah.
leprechaun.
It's like super short. It's like
Okay.
under 400 words. So
Yeah,
there's a leprechaun story.
that one's
We'll
good.
say that.
Yeah.
All right. Um, okay, so the next question I have was explain the prompts that you do on Instagram and how that led to the leprechaun story
Mm,
getting into our book. And then also, how can people get involved in your prompts if they want to? So
yeah.
you can promote yourself a little bit here.
There's actually probably some flash fiction magic. I call us the flash fiction mages um, on right now. But so what we've, it's been almost 2 years in June that we've been doing this. I just started this movement to just share our work because a lot of people are trying to publish novels and that takes a long time. It could be over 2 years before you see anything in print. Longer if you if you don't, agent or don't self-publish. And so I was just feeling like this need to want to share, like I really want to share my work. Like that's kind of what an author wants to do, right? Is to share their work
Yeah.
and their stories. And also I was noticing a lot of writers I was talking to really had this like I'm not good enough. I'm too scared to share my stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wish we could like I want to grow like confidence in other people too. And so it was kind of this twofold reason for starting it. And I just like put it out there. Was anyone interested in sharing flash fiction every Friday? And then I would come up with prompts and then people just post them on their Instagram. Just whatever's like as much as you can, either in the caption. Some people like write it out and screenshot it, like have
Mhm.
beautiful Canva, like pictures. And so you can write longer ones if you want. I always tend to keep it in the caption because that's all I have time for. Because I never want it to be a burden for anyone. Um, yeah, so we've been doing that, and it's great. I think there's probably like I'd say there's probably like 10 to 12. Um, what's the word?
Consistent.
Regulars, yeah, consistent people that have kind of taken it on as like just something they do, and
Yeah.
so we post them and then we comment on each other's stories and just encourage each other. It's not really a time to critique other people's writing because it's like it's a time just to encourage each other and be like, keep going.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I
oh,
feel like that's really good practice too, because writing, the less words you can get a good story in, it like helps you with your prose in general, and then like helps with your novels. And then even like super short is like even more crazy.
yeah, and I've
Less
heard some
words
that
to
it's
play
helped
with.
them refine. Sorry, you there?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties everywhere.
Okay, we're good.
We're keeping it in the cap so hard. Yes, yeah, it definitely can be. I know some people definitely like to do the screenshot thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And I guess yeah, how did that lead to the like the leprechaun
Oh Yes.
story, but without talking about the actual of the
Yeah.
story.
So it's okay. Yeah, so that was one of the themes was, I think the trickster was my theme for that. It was like around St. Patrick's Day. So I wrote the
Mm-hmm.
leprechaun story for that, and then chatting, and I was like, I wish I would have put this in. And you're like, hey, I really like it. Let's put it in. So that's what happened.
Like, well, we haven't published yet.
That's right.
Sort of flash fiction is so tricky. It is. Okay. How long have you been writing poetry? And then if you want to talk more about your poem, you can, but to you.
Um, I have I've been writing poetry for a while, but I've been writing it badly. So there's that. I feel like this year is the first time I've really taken it seriously. My friend Allie, she goes by the Authoress Life on Instagram. She started a kind of like flash fiction magic. She started something called Post to Poet. And so every Tuesday, she encourages people to do poetry. And so with her prompt. So that
That's
really
cool.
yeah. So I was like, okay, I want to do that. And so I did it consistently for a while. I've kind of dropped off, but it was enough to like make me realize how much I missed it. And then my friend Dave, who's actually in the
I was gonna
anthology.
say, is that what he does too? What?
Yeah. Well, I know he's taking a poetry class. He was a songwriter and he still
Yeah.
is. We were in a band together. That's my claim to fame. And I was really bad.
Nice.
But he's always been a musician. And so, yeah, he's been doing poetry and then he's taking a poetry class. So I'm like, hey, can you teach me how to do rhythm? Because I don't know. Like, I just am guessing. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's been like a curve for me. Yeah, it's harder than prose, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
I also have
not
to
super
prose too.
long.
Another.
We're taking it seriously, but yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Share one of your favorite lines from Trick of Remembering or a fun fact about the story.
Okay.
Or both.
So I don't really have fun facts. I was just like, how can I make this sad? No, I'm kidding.
How
Okay,
can people be cry and tricked at the same time?
exactly. I'll share a little section. It's more than one line, but you kind of need
Yeah.
context. All right. So this is from the point of view of Andrew. It says, pushing through the horsetails that neigh rudely as we pass, I find a log along the bank and sit heavily. Without looking, I know it has our name carved in its deep bark like a promise etched into steel. Andrew and Helen. A crude heart is drawn around it. I carved it when we were 16, just old enough to feel the currents of love, yet young enough not to get swept away in them. Now I'm drowning and I can't even conjure myself a boat.
I read this like so many times and it still gets to me.
I was just scared I was going to mispronounce conjure. Conjure?
That's all right. Yeah, for sure that was your purpose. Just some comments.
Yeah.
Very nice. And then the last question is, anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I want to know about your stories, Anne.
Okay, what do you want to know about mine?
What do you have for Fool's Honor?
What do I have? What my
Yeah.
stories?
Yeah.
All right. I have A Man of Twists and Turns, which is an Odysseus retelling. And it's a prequel to a story I have in What Darkness Fears, which is Light Dawns in the Darkness. And it's actually, so it's set in this world that I have this whole series planned for that's going to be published who knows when, but like later in life. It's like that series that I'm kind of saving for like when I'm better at writing. Like it's the one I want to make sure I'm really good at by the time it comes around. So for now, I'm like, well, I can introduce it through short stories so that people are like excited for it. Like I can market for it in the meantime. So yeah, so these stories follow like they're not even side characters. Like they might be characters that might be like mentioned once or twice, like in my actual series, which is easier because I can have them do stuff without it like entirely affecting my whole book and be like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah, right.
um,
I just made this
yeah,
that I have no. I'm not going to use it. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty bad.
like
Yeah.
uh,
Cool.
so that's my retelling one. I have a poem in the retelling section. It's like a Harley Quinn and Joker retelling, but it doesn't say that because copyright. I was worried about it, so I have him called a Joker instead of the Joker. I was like, they can't get me now.
That's smart. Yeah. Yeah. How do people do retellings? They just, I guess, they change names and stuff.
Yeah, well, and it has to be. I mean, retellings of like stuff that's been around for so long, you're allowed to do.
That's true.
But I just didn't want to even worry about it, so I was like, well, we're changing it.
Yep.
Um, yeah. And what else do I have? I have, so in the beginning of each section, there's like these little rules of how to be a trickster. So I wrote those too, and they go along with like each section. I wrote most of them, but then last minute, like only like half of it was written, and Crystal was helping with editing, and I was like, you need to help me. So we were literally in the document together, like just like back and forth, like quickly writing stuff. I'm like, okay, this is good. And they're
Yeah.
actually like one of my favorite things I have in here, so they actually turned out great.
That's fun. Yeah, and Crystal
Yeah.
did the side, or is that Savannah? Crystal?
Savannah did the formatting, and Crystal helped a lot with editing.
Okay.
Yeah, and a few other people did too.
Yeah.
What else do I have in here? I have another poem. I have a poem in the humor section. It's called Muse. I don't know if you read that one or not. It's so actually the origin of that story was there was this day where Laura and I were sitting there writing, and I had like counted my word count, and then like I went away and came back, and suddenly it was like 2,000 words more than it was last time I checked, or like I must have done math wrong. Something went wrong with math, but like suddenly the word count had jumped up, and we were like, it's obviously the elves. The elves came and like just wrote for me. So we've had like a joke about the elves writing our stories for us. So the poem is about like an elf whose name is Muse, and it's like trying to get the writer to write and focus, and yeah. And then there's like trolls that try to like derail it and everything.
I don't think I read that one yet.
Yeah, I'll have to read it. And then also in humor, Laura and I have one called Lease Agreement, which is so she rents for me, so we live together, and we don't have a lease agreement, but we always joke about we whenever I like try to make up rules, I'm like, you remember that lease agreement that you never actually signed? So then she's like, we should write one, right? And most of the rules in here are actual conversations we've had or like exaggerated off of conversations we've had. Because she does like fire dancing, so I've told her like, if you burn down anything in my backyard, you're not allowed to do it anymore. So, and that's like one of the rules.
Naturally.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I guess, man, I have a lot in this one actually. There's an introduction to my assassin characters that are gonna be in my debut. They're like at the end of the book.
Nice.
That's all I'm gonna say about that one. And and then I have one called Humor and Murder, which is in the twist endings. And then the hardback I have the Red Umbrella. And both of those two are also in Effie's anthology that's coming out too. But they fit both of our themes, so I was like, well, I'm gonna put them in both.
Nice.
So, yeah. Yep.
How many? My two favorite hobbies. Sorry, I'm missing all the comments.
Yeah, you're good so far.
Do you know off the top of your head how many authors are in the anthology?
We counted the other day. It was like something in the 20s.
Nice.
Like 26 maybe or so.
Oh.
And then there's like 48 some stories and poems or something. So, yeah. It's It's a lot. I think I decided the next one's gonna be a little bit shorter, just because it took so long to edit because there's so much to go through,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I only have so much time in reality.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, were there any questions?
Yeah, do any of you people have
I
questions?
think they're just having their own conversation.
You
This isn't time
never
to
know.
come here and hang out. I'm just kidding.
I'm You're here to ask us questions.
How dare
I'm always scared to scroll back. I feel like I'm gonna mess something up. Yeah.
you
Yep.
log yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. Does anyone have questions? Or else I don't know.
So Fool's Honor comes out April Fool's, right?
Yes.
Little plug in case people are hopping on
Yeah.
and don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Buy the book. It won't have this on it, obviously. But I hope not.
Right. Yeah,
Not for resale. They're like, but I just bought it.
that's right.
How did you both get so cool? I was born this way. Just kidding.
Case my CP, so she's on here being snarky. I told him to come heckle, but that was a nice heckle.
Love the cover. Thank you. Yeah, if you ever need covers, it's Fantastical Ink, I think. Yeah. They're amazing. This is where this one came from. Actually, we were like eyeing this for months, and like I was like, I need it,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to make it fit. But we found a way. We just turned it into like a card, and now it's like a rule book on how to be trickster, pretty much.
Yeah.
They make me very happy.
Yes.
Happy we would have.
Great. Their CP.
But
Get out of here.
but ask the questions. Don't leave. But yeah, and they can also buy The Darkened Spheres,
Yes.
which will also be on discount. Well, it is actually at the moment. So
Yeah.
go buy it.
I have 2 stories in that one, and
Yeah.
I think they're super emotional.
Yeah, they're very good. They were lots of people's favorite stories, so go buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else there's to say other than things I've like already said a bunch of times on other videos. Love what Darkness Sphere is. Oh, thank you.
She even had to order it from Canada, so that is hardcore.
Oh, wow. What do you prefer to use for drafting, by hand or a specific word processor?
Um,
You have an answer?
well, manuscripts I draft with Scrivener. Helps my scattered brain be organized. And then short stories, I either use Google Docs or Word, or just like a Word doc. But I like having it in Google Docs because I usually always send it to beta readers like right away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice to have it there. And yeah, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually use Google. I just did get Scrivener, but I'm in my 3rd draft, so Scrivener was a little harder because I was like going through alpha comments, which was on Google Docs. So it was like, well, but after I did that, I put it all into Scrivener then just to play around with like the order of the scenes, and then I copied it all back into Google Docs in the order I wanted.
Yeah.
And then I also like printing out, and then which I'll probably do more for like line edits too, and like do that by hand. Yeah, I also like getting like super early proof copies, like before I even have a cover, because when it's in like an actual book, I feel like I notice stuff that I don't notice on a screen or even like print it out. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna do this sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it costs money, but
changing the font can like help you because there's something about your brain reading it differently. So
yeah.
I don't change the font necessarily, but I'll print it out after a couple drafts, and then the last draft I'll like read on my Kindle or something, which is probably similar to printing out a book. But
yeah,
I'm hoping. Yeah, I don't know. I'm up in the air about traditional publishing, self-publishing. I'm querying my 4th novel. let me get that straight right now to agents. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that pans out, but who knows? I'm
Exciting.
self-pubbing or small publishing.
Small publisher.
I'm so good with words.
I discovered that you can have Scrivener read your work out loud,
Was that
so that
cool?
might be helpful for editing.
Ooh.
I do like having it read. I have an app on my phone that reads like PDFs out loud, but that's kind of annoying for when I'm actually trying to edit because then I have to like go find the document. But I could use Scrivener for that. I do like listening to it too, or even reading it out loud myself helps. But
Yeah.
I should make Laura read out loud to me. Just stand there, and then I can be like, "Wait, stop! Fix it."
Be part of your lease agreement.
You must read all my books out loud to me. Oh man,
Fun that you have a writer friend to live with, though.
it is
Were you
fabulous.
I can't remember. Were you friends? Like, how did you find each other? Like, I can't find writer friends in real life.
We went to middle school / high school together, so
Okay.
we knew each other for quite a while. And we actually didn't know that we both wrote until like junior or senior year.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh. And then we were like, it was weird because we were like, oh, all we know that we have in common is writing. So that's all we were like ever talked about.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, we could hang out in general. What? And now we're best friends. So,
That's so cool.
but we still usually mostly talk about writing.
Yeah. Oh, I would too.
But, yeah, like that's what I want to talk about the most anyway. So,
Yeah.
but
My poor husband listen to it. So.
oh man.
So,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Anything else? Are you good?
I'm trying to like read the comments.
It's the same one that we just read.
Okay.
About Scrivener. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Guess that's. I have nothing else unless
And I'll see there.
a question comes up real fast.
What?
Unless a question comes up real fast.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm good. I'm
Yeah. For having me
short and
on.
sweet. Yeah, it was fun.
My hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, what is Wednesday? I'll just say this. On Wednesday, I'm going live with Becca Gramakova, so everyone should come back for that one and
Yes.
ask questions too.
Becca stories.
Yeah. She has like I think 5 stories in this one.
Wow.
Like, you have as many as I do almost.
So when you say you want less stories in the next anthology, you just need less Becca.
Well, she's helping run it, so
Uh-oh. Okay.
it's gonna just be basically like Becca, me, and like 5 other people.
Just have like the sections as in Anne, Becca,
Yeah.
and then the others.
The others. There you go.
The less worthy.
They don't get names.
That's
I mean,
right.
on the cover it's and others, so you know.
True. Yeah. It's like an ask the others.
Yeah, the others.
I love it.
Oh man. All right.
Well,
I guess. Yeah. What?
said I'll tune in for that on Wednesday. That's the release. Wednesday, April Fool's.
Wednesday.
Okay.
And then it comes out on our last live stream, Laura said it comes out Wednesday. And then afterwards I was like, Wednesday's the 30th, not the 1st.
Oh.
I was like, so just keep April 1st in mind. Don't think about the day of the week.
It has been the easiest date to remember because of April Fool's. Like,
Yeah.
can't really forget it. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Oh, we have people.
That's my best friend in high school.
Cool.
Now that you're gone, we're leaving. She's actually seriously late all her life, so this was actually perfect.
So is Laura, so it makes sense. Well, if you have any last minute questions, Yeah.
Hey now.
Oh man.
All right.
Do you want to give her a chance to ask a question, or do you want to just kick her off?
Everything. Hey, this is my husband. Hey, husband.
Oh. Hey, husband.
Just really just my family and friends on here. Let's be honest.
That's fine. It'll be all posted then too. The audience is supposed to heckle you, not the other way around.
That's right. Oh, sorry. I'm really good. I'm really good at building a readership. I'm really good at it by making fun of people.
It's a brand.
That's right. Yeah, it's fun. You want to be roasted at this author event? Come see Emily.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Oh man.
Well,
All right.
I'm good.
I'm good to go.
Okay.
If you are.
Okay. Thanks
All right.
for coming.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya. If I can end it, hang on.